2026, I built a learning dashboard. As any developer today, YouTube is one of the prime sources of learning web development content. But browsing through YouTube is overwhelming. You're drowning in so much content and it's so hard to filter through good content from just hype videos. Plus, it's so easy to get distracted. I mean, I set out to watch a React video and before I know it, I'm watching a home decor video. Therefore, in 2026, I am setting up systems to help me learn faster and avoid burnout. So today, I'm going to show you a YouTube dashboard that I built to help me learn React and AI faster and help me surface the content that I should learn based on my seniority level. Because if you're trying to stay ahead of the curve, it's important that you don't get distracted. I built all of this using React, Next.js, and Tambo, and I'm going to show you exactly how I built this. And of course, with Claude. Hello, everyone. My name is Shruti Kapoor, and on this channel, I make it easy for you to understand React, AI, and modern frontend with simple explanations, no fluff. And today, we're going to learn how to build a generative UI dashboard in React. If you like this kind of content, hit like and please hit subscribe because it really helps my channel. This is what we're building today. We've got a YouTube dashboard here where we're trending the most latest content in React, web dev. We can also switch between different categories like JavaScript. We have the ability to play videos and also get a rating of excellent, good, fair, depending on what AI thinks the quality of the video is. I've also added a personal YouTube dashboard, and this is super helpful for somebody who's a content creator like me. At a glance, I can see how my videos are performing, and I can also see some audience insights from my YouTube channel, such as what is my best upload day, what topics are performing well, and which of my videos are doing well, what category of view range is a video in. So this can be super helpful for somebody who's a content creator trying to get a glance of what their YouTube dashboard, of what their channel is doing. But a really cool feature that I want to show you is that you have a bunch of videos that your YouTube feed also recommends you. What's the difference here than what we see in YouTube? What's cool here is that you can ask the AI assistant, which is right in the dashboard itself, to show you the videos that are only cursor related. So let's say I wake up one morning and I see, okay, Claude or cursor is kind of trending today. So I can ask it to show only Claude related videos. And so the UI, this is generative UI. So Tambo is going to take that input, find out videos that are Claude code related videos, and show you exactly the videos that are relevant to the search query that you asked, thereby reducing the time it takes you to learn the topic that you want to learn. And remember, this is an excellent quality video. So I also know which videos are doing well and I should be watching, helping me save time. One important thing here to remember is that the access here is controlled by me. So for example, if I ask the chat assistant to add something that I'm not allowed, like summaries to each video, you'll notice that I get a message back from the chat assistant saying video card props don't include descriptions, which means that AI only has control over my components as much as I allow them. This restricts control to AI, making sure that it only has access. But what's awesome is that it doesn't just quit and say, okay, I don't know what to do. It'll actually show you content within the chat assistant. So it'll still say, these are the videos and these are the summaries. Even though you haven't allowed access, you can still get information within the chat assistant as well, which is awesome. I can also make this better for me by asking it to suggest a watch order in the UI and ask it to filter out must watch only list so that I am not overwhelmed by the amount of information there is in YouTube videos. This is a much better way of learning than just by browsing YouTube feed and getting distracted by videos that could potentially be lower quality or just not in the topic or just not on topic on what you're looking for. Here's an overview of what we are building with Next.js and Tambo using React components. We're building a UI platform. We're building a YouTube dashboard platform where we'll have a Discover tab where we can render a video grid that shows the videos that are trending currently in a category we select. For example, for us, it'll be React web development. On the side is where we have the AI capability where we show a chat sidebar and we can ask AI questions like show me trending AI tutorials. What's really cool about this app is that the dashboard is a generative UI. So if I ask chat to show me trending AI tutorials, it not only puts the list within the chat like how Claude does, but it can also update the UI on the left side, thereby making it generative. So I can generate content based on my filters. Now, the way this works is that instead of returning text-only prompt, we actually give access to Tambo to generate the UI by registering components and tools which it can use to create components and render data on the page. Helps it to fetch YouTube services if needed. These components and tools are registered with Tambo using a Tambo provider. And a component is actually a JSON struct which tells Tambo which component to use and which props are provided. One thing important to remember is that it can only update the fields that you give it access to through prop schema. So in the demo, we saw that we asked her to update summary, but because we had not provided that through the schema, Tambo will not be able to update it. So we limit control. The next thing that Tambo needs in order to fetch data is tools, and tools provided access to the services that you want to run. So for example, you can get video performance, which is what I'm using on the dashboard. You can get trending videos, which is how I'm fetching from YouTube. And finally, the Tambo provider registers all of this together so that the generative UI and the chat have access to data using 3 important hooks: use Tambo thread, use Tambo, and use Tambo streaming, which provides real-time component rendering. The data flow looks like this. User enters something in the sidebar, which is the Tambo React SDK. It uses use Tambo hook and understands the message plus sends the context over to the API and also understands which components and tools it can update. The AI agent, which is in the cloud, then understands the prompt that was sent and calls the services or the tools that it needs to call, giving the data back to the agent, which then returns the data by making sure that it gets cached first and returning the video data through an array. The agent also understands that it has access to UI, so it can render the video grid with these videos, streams in the response so we can progressively show data as it loads, and SDK updates video grid to the registered component, which helps to render video grid in the chat with the real data that the user had asked for. I've also implemented caching in this app because it is super easy to hit 10,000 units of YouTube API quota. So it's important that there's multiple levels of caching involved. I've got a client cache, a server cache, and I also have a mock data fallback in case everything fails and I've run through the quota so I can show it a mock data, which honestly I ran through multiple times. The overall components in this app are fairly simple. We've got the tab, which actually switches between Discover and Dashboard, Discover being the trending page, Dashboard being my YouTube analytics, which is all set on page.tsx. Just for simplicity, I'm rendering everything on the client side. Then we've got the main page where I've got trending tech videos, which is actually Discover page. I've got the search page. I have a few categories, which is how I'm filtering through various content on the page. This is not generative UI, this is just simple UI. And I have the video grid component, which I have given Tambo access to control. So the way Tambo registers, the way the AI part of this works is I've got a chat sidebar component, which is a simple React component, but in there, the magic is done by a Tambo component called message thread full, which has the hook use Tambo message, which picks up the data that the user has sent as a prompt and sends it over to the Tambo agent. The AI rendered components that I have given access to are the video grid and video card component. I've created a graph just so I could show some data from my YouTube dashboard, and I have a data card. Now let's go ahead and build this application. To get you set up quickly, I have created a YouTube dashboard GitHub repo where you can check out the code in the main branch to get started quickly. This builds on top of Tambo's quick start guide, which helps you set up Tambo quickly and creates a Tambo API key for you. So once you run npm run dev in the main branch, you'll see hello world in your browser. With this, your code is set up and good to go. Let's take a look at what the code looks like at this point. This is the Next.js project, and we've got the app folder where we have page set up here. To keep things simple, I'm doing everything on the client side. You'll notice that we have some components already added from Tambo that comes from the quick start guide. You don't need to worry about any of that right now. And we also have Tambo hooked up in the library folder. Now let's go ahead and get started and understand which components we need to create this this dashboard. Let's talk about the UI shell here. At the top here, you'll notice that there's a tabs component, and when you click on Discover, we show you the Discover tab, and then if you click on Shruti's YouTube dashboard, we have another tab where we show personal analytics. So when you're given an application like this and it's time for you to design the front end, it's important to think about how you're going to break down from an app this big to small React components which are reusable. If you look at this grid, you'll notice here that there are video cards that are used over and over again. This becomes a React component. So we're going to have a React component called video card. At the top here, you'll notice that there is a grid, which is where we are arranging these videos. Now you can imagine that if we have multiple YouTube dashboards, or if we have multiple pages like this, we could take that grid, keep it the same style, and put this in multiple places. And that becomes another component, which is YouTube grid. Now at the top here, you'll also notice that there are some pills. Again, a reusable component that can be category pills. We also have a search bar here. This is a tab. So we're going to create a tabs component, and everything inside it is going to go into tab content. On the side here, you'll notice that we also have a sidebar or a chat sidebar, and we're going to create a component for that. So this way, we've divided this big giant app into smaller components, and now we can go ahead and start creating the UI shell. So within components folder, we're going to create a component called video grid.tsx. We're going to create a component called video card.tsx. I'm also going to create a component for video description.tsx, a tab component, and then for each of those pages, category pill.tsx, a chat sidebar.tsx. And now for each of those pages or those tab content, I'm going to create a component for them. So one is going to be my dashboard.tsx, and then the other one is actually the trending tech videos. That's going to be another component. Now I've created this component all in same file or all in same folder, but depending on the size of your repo or size of your project, you can also divide them into different folders. Now at this point, I'm going to ask Claude to actually build these components. Using this given screenshot, build components category pill.tsx, chat sidebar.tsx, my dashboard, tab, trending tech videos, video card, video description, and video grid. The requirements of these are that they need to be React components with minimal state management, reusable components, and should match the design spec. Keep the complexity to minimum. Let's give this prompt and wait for Claude to build the app. By the way, I'm using Flow to narrate and talk to Claude. You can check out Flow in the description below. It is an amazing speech-to-text tool that I've been using for the last 5 months. And honestly, I've been loving how accurate it is. After Claude is done working, this is the UI that it came up with. It's actually pretty accurate to what we gave. At the top, there is a discover bar and a sidebar. Ooh, there's like 2 sidebars here. That's fine, we'll fix it. What's great is that because I said keep functionality to a minimum, it actually used mock data to create this, which is awesome because now we're going to integrate with YouTube's API to actually fetch this content. But what you can see is that the UI stuff is already done. It's created our pills for us. It's also got this video card. It's also able to create this sort of rating here, which actually helps us understand which of these videos are important for us to learn. There's also a trending thing at the top. So it's done a good job of creating UI that looks exactly like what I gave it, which is right here. So it's been able to create that exactly, which is awesome. Now, let's commit this and start integrating with YouTube API. To get the actual data from YouTube, we're going to use the search endpoint that helps us pass lists by keyword. So for example, you can search by web dev, React, career advice, AI and trending videos. And this is how we're going to fetch real data from YouTube. The only thing you need to fetch from this is a YouTube API key. So make sure you go ahead and add that to your env.local file. Also remember that hitting this endpoint actually impacts your YouTube API quota, which means that if you hit this endpoint, it costs you 100 units. Which is a lot. While making a demo app for this, I ran into this quota so fast. Therefore, we're going to implement caching as well to make sure that we don't keep fetching from this API over and over again on the same day. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to prompt Claude to fetch from YouTube API At the same time, implement caching so that we're not fetching again. And I'm going to pass in these filters: React, AI, ML, JavaScript, tech careers, web dev, and open source, because this is the content that I'm looking to see from these YouTube videos. I don't want everything. I just want a specific set. And similarly, if you're a backend engineer, you can tweak this to only fetch the type of content that you're interested in. So let's go ahead and tell Claude, fetch trending content from YouTube API by using the environment variables passed in, and fetch React, AI and ML, JavaScript, tech careers, web dev, and open source videos that were published in the last 3 weeks. Make sure to add caching to prevent YouTube API from being fetched over and over again. Okay, let's take a look. It's done building. So on the homepage, it's actually updated the thumbnails and it's updated the rating as well. So it's giving me some great and goods. I've got a bunch of videos here. I believe I have 60 videos because that's what I asked it. Some of these videos don't have a lot of views, so I do definitely want to filter them out based on the quality. At the top here, you'll see that it's actually rated which of these are the best, right? So the number one in here, it thinks, is honest picture of tech market jobs in 2026. What's cool about this is because we're fetching by category, if we click on React, it actually filters the data out, so it's only React videos. And that's great. That's exactly what I need when I am looking to upgrade my skills in React or learn about something new that's coming up in React. Same with AI and ML, open source, and so on. One thing that I don't like so far is that even now there is a lot of content in here. And some of this is actually not high quality, like 685 views, that's not high quality. So I'm going to filter these videos to be high quality from reputed creators, framework authors. Why am I typing when I can announce? High number of views, in-depth technical content. I just want to make sure that the dashboard is actually really high quality and I'm not seeing random videos from people. What's also cool is that the search bar is working. So if I look for React, I can actually see React videos only. That's awesome. Now, if you're a YouTube creator, you can use similar logic to also implement a personalized view of your own YouTube dashboard. Here's a personal view of what my dashboard looks like. Now check this out. This actually shows me how many subscribers I have today, how many views I'm getting, how many videos I've published in the last days, but it's also showing me the top performing videos. What's also really cool is that I also know, and this is all coming from my YouTube data, by the way, I know what is my best upload day, I know what topics are performing best. So this is really great as a creator for me to know how my channel is doing. And I look for content. They're all pretty much high quality content now, which is great. So typically it's like 5K plus content, which is awesome. That's great. That is a high quality video. It doesn't have to be like 70K views or go viral, but this is good. All right, so now here's the thing. I do see React content in here. There's still a bunch of other videos. If I don't have tons of time to filter through all of these videos, I want to know, like, if I'm focused on AI and React integration, what is the best video I should watch out of these videos? That's how I want AI to help me. I want it to surface exactly the video that I'm looking for without me having to hunt through all of this content myself. Let's build that using Tambo now. But what's Tambo? Before we get into integrating with Tambo, let's understand what Tambo is doing. So Tambo is a generative UI SDK for React components. What that means is it helps you create generative UI powered by your own components, which means that if I want to convert this application so that if I type something in the field here, like update the page to show me the most popular React video for senior engineers. If I type that in the chat, Tambo is going to be able to understand that that it needs to filter from the data to figure out which is the most important React video based on the views, based on the technical depth of the content, and based on the seniority level that I have specified in the text prompt, and filter the content on the page, which is this, control my components so that it removes anything that is not a high quality video. This is extremely powerful for building generative UIs that are controlled by your own React components. So right now I have a dumb app and I can make it a smart app, an AI powered app, by just integrating it with Tambo in one step. And I'm going to show you what to do. Now there are three main parts of making your React app from a dumb app to do a generative AI app. First thing we're going to do is in our services folder, you probably already have this folder if you followed the main branch or checked out Tambo's quick start project. But if you don't, create a services folder where you're going to add any data fetching APIs, any data fetching calls that you need. This is where we're going to create services that we need to fetch from external APIs. For example, if you need to fetch YouTube, this is where you put them. If you need to fetch Stripe or anything else, this is where you're going to put them. You're going to create a services file within source and put any of your data fetching APIs in here. This is simple, nothing complicated. Then in Tambo.ts, you're going to register those services that you created. For us, we're going to do get trending videos and then some performance metrics for my own YouTube dashboard. And then within the tools array, you're going to register each of those services as a tool. There are some parameters that are important, such as description. Your description should be descriptive enough so that the agent knows what this tool is useful for. So for example, for our trending videos, we've added get trending YouTube videos, filter by category, available categories are the categories available. Use this to explore what's popular in tech and job seeker content, identifying emerging skills and understand market demands. So this lets agent know that if it needs to fetch more content, this is the API endpoint that it needs. This is the tool that it needs. Then you can register the tool itself, add the input schema and the output schema. And that's it. And if you have any other endpoints that you want to use or any other tools that you want to provide, this is where you register that for your agent. Once you've got this tool set up, then you need to let Tambo know how to use this data and register that as a component. This is where the magic happens. So in here, I'm going to create a new component. I'm going to call it YouTube card because this is how I'm going to call it video card because this is how I'm going to let Tambo get access to the little cards that I have on my page so that if I have new data or if I want to filter data, Tambo knows that this is the card that it needs to update. So I'm going to provide a name and then I'm going to provide a description. And I also need to provide component. So you remember that we created a video card component already. I'm just going to add that and then prop schema, which I already have as part of video card schema. Now, in order for the chat assistant to be able to interact with the components on the left side, we need to make sure that it has the ability to interact with these components. And that's actually super simple to do. I'll show you. Tambo has an HOC called with interactable, and all you gotta do is wrap your component with interactable, and we're actually gonna export this as a named export interactable video card because it also needs a bunch of parameters, which is gonna be component name, description, and prop schema. Now, this is all we need to do in order to make sure. Oh, also make sure that instead of video card, we have interactable video card. Also comes from video card. Now, this is all we need to make sure that our AI has access to the React dashboard that we created. Now, before I go ahead and interact with my AI assistant here, I'm also going to make sure that I'm making my video card my video grid also interactable. And the reason is that AI can update the video card, which is it can change the text of this, but it also needs to be able to update the grid itself. So let's go ahead and add interactable video grid with the same steps that we did for video card. So make interactable video grid, import it here, update video grid to be interactable. Also, I'm going to update these video cards to be interactable video card. Bring the HOC in and wrap this with the interactable HOC. Now let's test this. Filter the UI to show the most relevant AI video for a React developer looking to upgrade their AI web development skills. Okay, I'm gonna find the most relevant video. Something you'll notice is that I also ran into this no videos found error, and this happened because I'm getting a 403 from YouTube search. Remember, I was telling you that fetching this API is 100 units in your YouTube quota, which means I actually hit the YouTube quota despite implementing caching. So I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to check that if YouTube quota has been reached or exceeded. I'm going to fetch from my mock data because I don't want to see no videos found. I'm going to fetch from my mock data. just so I can test this out. And then secondly, I'm going to first fetch from my cache instead of fetching every time when I land on the page. I noticed that this app was actually fetching every time I was landing on the page, and I guess that's when it's what it's writing, which is not what I want my cache to do. So let's go ahead and add that in Claude. Perform the following 2 steps. Number 1, ensure that when the user lands on the page, data is first fetched from the cache, and if cache is missed, then data is fetched from YouTube API. Number 2, if YouTube API quota is met and there is a 403 error coming back from YouTube, then fetch data from mock data instead of showing no videos found. This is why I love Flow. Like, I don't have to type all of this. I am so lazy. So now let's try that again. Filter the UI to show the most relevant video for a React engineer looking to learn AI web development. Now, one optimization I can do here is that, remember, I was actually searching for React and AI and stuff. That actually charges 100 units per request. But if I was to give a video category like 28 and look for videos.list instead of search.list endpoint, that is 1 unit per request. So that means instead of hitting 100 units per request, and actually I was hitting like 6 categories for 600 units, thanks Claude, I would only hit 6 units per request, 6 units for all the categories. In my case, which is only going to be 1 because I'm only going to look for science and technology, and then I'm going to let Tambo actually filter the content for me. So this is a great way to extend a React app into an AI generative UI by just adding Tambo and letting your components become AI operable. In this video, we saw how to build a YouTube dashboard for trending tech videos, how to divide a design into smaller reusable components, how to fetch data, when to implement caching, how to tweak our API endpoints so that we don't run into a lot of quota limits, and how to make our UI generative. If you like this video, you may like this other video on how to build a real estate AI app in React. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and thank you for joining.